Hello, I'm Susie. I have a story to share about our delightful dog. So buckle up for a tale as delightful as a freshly baked Victoria sponge cake. It's about my darling English Springer Spaniel. Picture this, a tiny ball of fluff, big brown eyes and ears that could make a bunny jealous. The day we brought Henry home was pure pandemonium. He was like a miniature whirlwind, bouncing around like a furry pinball. He explored every nook and cranny, leaving a trail of puppy breath in his wake. Oh, the cuteness was simply unbearable. From the moment he came into my life, I was so happy. Those soulful eyes, that wagging tail, he had me wrapped around his little paw. And thus began our grand adventure, a love story for the ages. A woman and her dog, ready to take on the world, one muddy paw print at a time. So let me tell you, puppyhood is not for the faint of heart. It's a whirlwind of energy, curiosity, and boundless enthusiasm. From the moment you bring that little bundle of joy home, your life is turned upside down in the most delightful and chaotic way. Henry, bless his cotton socks, was a mischievous little thing. His eyes sparkled with a mix of innocence and mischief, always plotting his next adventure. Every day with him was an unpredictable journey. He chewed on everything in sight. Toys, shoes, furniture legs, nothing was safe from his tiny sharp teeth. It was as if he had a radar for the most valuable or inconvenient items to gnaw on. Shoes, furniture legs, even the occasional electrical cord, thankfully with no harm done. I remember one time he got hold of my favorite pair of heels. I was devastated, but his guilty little face made it impossible to stay mad for long. One particularly memorable incident involved a brand new rug and a puddle that could only be described as epic. I had just laid it out, admiring how it tied the room together, when Henry decided it was the perfect spot for a bathroom break. Let's just say my cleaning skills were put to the ultimate test. I spent hours scrubbing and blotting, trying to salvage my beautiful rug. It was a lesson in patience and resilience. But even when covered in mud, or guilty of chewing a favorite pair of heels, one look at his adorable face and all was forgiven. His big soulful eyes seemed to say, "I'm sorry, but I couldn't help myself." He was like a tiny furry hurricane, leaving a trail of chaos in his wake. Toys scattered everywhere, shoes misplaced, and the occasional overturned plant pot. It was a constant state of disarray, but it was our new normal. But amidst the mayhem, there was also laughter, pure and simple. Henry's antics, though sometimes frustrating, were always guaranteed to bring a smile to my face. His playful nature was infectious, and I found myself laughing more than I had in years. Henry's antics, though sometimes frustrating, were always guaranteed to bring a smile to my face. Whether he was chasing his tail, getting stuck in a too small box, or barking at his own reflection, he had a knack for making everyday moments extraordinary. His boundless energy and zest for life were contagious. Every day with Henry was an adventure, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. And then after all the chaos, there were the quiet moments, when Henry would finally tire himself out and curl up next to me, his tiny body rising and falling with each breath. Those peaceful moments were the calm after the storm, a reminder of the unconditional love and companionship that made all the chaos worthwhile. Watching Henry grow from a mischievous puppy into a loyal companion was a journey filled with ups and downs, but every moment was precious. The challenges of puppyhood were fleeting, but the bond we formed would last a lifetime. So if you're thinking about bringing a puppy into your life, be prepared for the chaos, the messes, and the endless energy. But also be prepared for the love, the laughter, and the unforgettable moments that make it all worthwhile. Puppyhood is a wild ride, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences you'll ever have. Every day, rain or shine, we'd embark on our daily pilgrimage to the park. Henry, with the boundless energy of youth, would transform into a furry rocket, dashing across the grass with reckless abandon. The sheer joy on his face as he chased after squirrels, who always outwitted him, was infectious. He'd splash in puddles with unbridled enthusiasm, emerging looking like a drowned rat but happy as a clam. Walks were never just walks with Henry. They were grand adventures, filled with sniffs and explorations. He taught me to appreciate the simple things, the rustling of leaves, the warmth of the sun on my face, the pure, unadulterated joy of a good old-fashioned roll in the mud. Every day is an adventure filled with toys, mischief, and a whole lot of love. Now, you know I do spoil my Henry rotten. He's not just a pet, he's family, and I treat him like the little prince he is. From the moment he entered my life, He became the center of my universe. He has more toys than a child in a toy shop. You wouldn't believe the variety. There are plush toys, rubber toys, interactive toys, and even some that make sounds. It's like a mini amusement park for dogs right in my living room. Squeaky toys, rope toys, balls of all shapes and sizes. You name it, he's got it. Each toy has its own story, its own place in our daily routine. The squeaky toys are his favorite. He loves the noise they make and can spend hours just biting and squeaking them. But did that stop him from eyeing up my slippers? Not a chance! Despite having a mountain of toys, my slippers seemed to hold a special allure for him. Perhaps it was the scent, or maybe the forbidden nature of them made them irresistible. It was a constant battle of wills. Every time I caught him in the act, he'd give me that mischievous look, as if to say, "Catch me if you can, Mum." It was a game to him, a test of boundaries and patience. I'd say, "No, Henry, those are mummies," with all the sternness I could muster, trying to sound authoritative. But deep down, I knew it was a losing battle. Henry had a way of making even the sternest commands sound like a playful challenge. It was as if he had a radar for my slippers, always finding them no matter where I hid them. The more I tried to keep them away, the more determined he became. It was enough to make a saint swear. The frustration would build up, and I'd find myself exasperated, wondering why I even bothered buying him all those toys. But then, just as quickly, the frustration would melt away. But then he'd look up at me with those big, innocent eyes, and my heart would melt. Those eyes, so full of love and mischief, had a way of erasing all my annoyance. In that moment, all I could see was my sweet, playful Henry. No matter how many slippers he chewed or how many times he tested my patience, one look from those eyes and all was forgiven. He had me wrapped around his little paw. So here's to the chew toy chaos, the forbidden delights, and the endless love that makes every moment with Henry an adventure worth cherishing. Because in the end, it's these little moments of chaos and love that make life truly special. Puppy training, I found out, is an art form. It requires the patience of a saint, the stamina of an Olympic athlete, and a sense of humor that could rival a stand-up comedian. Henry, you see, had a mind of his own. We'd go to puppy school, and while the other dogs were sitting politely, my Henry would be off chasing butterflies or attempting to make friends with the grumpy old Labrador who clearly wanted nothing to do with him. "Sit," I'd say, holding up a treat. Henry would wag his tail enthusiastically, spin in a circle, and then plonk himself down with a triumphant, "Did I do it right?" look on his face. It was enough to make you tear your hair out 1 minute and roar with laughter the next. Time flies when you're having fun, especially when you're sharing your life with a whirlwind of a Springer Spaniel. The days seem to blur together, each one filled with boundless energy and endless joy. From the moment I brought Henry home, he was a bundle of excitement, always eager to explore and play. His enthusiasm was infectious, and it wasn't long before I found myself looking forward to our daily adventures. Before I knew it, my little Henry wasn't so little anymore. It felt like just yesterday he was a tiny, gangly pup, tripping over his own paws. But puppies grow up fast, and Henry was no exception. Each day, he seemed to grow a little bigger, a little stronger, and a lot more confident. Watching him transform from a clumsy puppy into a graceful adult was nothing short of magical. He'd blossomed into a handsome dog with a sleek liver and white coat and a perpetually wagging tail that could clear a coffee table in a single swipe. His coat was a beautiful mix of rich browns and pristine whites, and it shone in the sunlight, making him look almost regal. That tail of his, always in motion, was a constant reminder of his joyful spirit. It was as if he couldn't contain his happiness, and it spilled out in the form of that ever-wagging tail. He was still as mischievous as ever, mind you. Henry had a knack for finding trouble, whether it was sneaking into the kitchen to steal a snack or digging up the garden in search of hidden treasures. His playful antics kept me on my toes, and there was never a dull moment with him around. But his mischief was always tempered with a sense of innocence, and it was impossible to stay mad at him for long. But somewhere along the way, he'd also learned to be a cuddle monster. Despite his boundless energy, Henry had a soft side that he reserved for quiet moments. He loved to curl up on the sofa next to me, his big brown eyes gazing up at me with pure adoration. Those moments of calm were a stark contrast to his usual exuberance, and they were a testament to the deep bond we shared. It was in those quiet moments that I truly appreciated the depth of our connection. His eyes, so full of love and trust, spoke volumes. They told me that I was his world, just as he was mine. The bond between us was unbreakable, forged through countless shared experiences and mutual affection. And in those moments, I'd feel a wave of love so profound it took my breath away. It was a love that transcended words, a love that was felt deep in the heart. Henry had a way of making me feel cherished and valued, and I knew that I was incredibly lucky to have him in my life. He was more than just a pet, he was a true companion, a source of unwavering support and endless joy. This mischievous, energetic, sometimes downright naughty dog had stolen my heart completely. His playful spirit and boundless energy were infectious, and he had a way of making even the most mundane days feel special. Whether we were playing fetch in the park or simply lounging at home, Henry's presence made everything better. He had a zest for life that was truly inspiring, and he reminded me to find joy in the little things. In Henry, I have found a loyal companion who is always by my side, ready to share in my joys and comfort me in my sorrows. He is more than just a dog. He is a cherished member of the family, and I couldn't imagine my life without him. Our journey together from gangly pup to handsome hound has been filled with love, laughter, and countless unforgettable moments. And as I look at him, now a fully grown dog, I know that our adventure is far from over. There are still many more memories to be made, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us.